welcome to practice. For today's class, we will be using a chair. I also have 2 blocks, 2 bricks, a yoga strap and a blanket. So if you don't have all of that equipment, don't worry, there'll be options along the way and lots of the practice you will be able to do just with the chair. I also recommend coming close to a wall if that's possible, as we'll be doing a little bit of balance practice where it can be helpful to have the wall there as an extra prop. So let's get started today by bringing the chair to the front of the mat and having the front of the chair facing you. Step yourself a little bit of distance away from the chair and we'll have our feet about hip distance. So starting in our mountain pose today, lifting all 10 toes, spread the toes nice and wide, bring the toes back to the mat. Start to soften out through the knees, a slight tuck in the tailbone as you lift up through the heart space. And then we'll bring our arms to the sides of the body and just rotate the palms to face forward. If it feels comfortable for you, closing down your eyes and just start to bring your awareness and attention to your breathing. So nice flow of breath in through the nose and out through the nose. A couple more rounds like that, just finding your own rhythm and pace of breathing. And we'll be starting our practice today with a few rounds of a chair sun salutation. So that breath guides and leads the way. With an inhale, reach the arms up overhead, upward salute, palms may meet. Exhale, folding down, bring your hands to the chair. See if you can lightly rest your forehead onto the edge of the chair. With an inhale, press into the hands, straightening through the arms, straightening through the spine. And then exhale, step your feet back. We're finding a chair version of our plank here. Shoulders are above the wrists. We're pushing nice and actively into the hands. I like to hold the edge of the chair. That gives me a little bit better grip here. And then press off the balls of the feet, engage through the fronts of the thighs and engage through the tummy muscles. Now keeping everything exactly as it is, we're just moving the elbows here. As you inhale, bend your elbows. See if you can keep them hugging into the body. Exhale, press away from your chair. Now as you inhale this time, arms stay straight, hips move towards the edge of the chair, roll the shoulders back and down, pull the heart and rib cage through the arms. This is our cobra or upward facing dog. And then as you exhale, send those hips back. Feet can come flat, hips towards the back of the mat. The arms are hugging in towards the ears. The hands are gripping nice and firmly onto your chair. And see if you can feel a sense that the neck is staying in line with the spine here. So we're not dropping the head down, we're not looking forward, we're keeping that neck in line with the spine. Sometimes there's a tendency to drop a bit in the shoulders, so work against that by hugging the arms in. And there's a little bit of resistance against that pull of gravity pulling us downwards here. Couple more rounds of breath. Nice full deep breath in, feeling the expansion of the rib cage. And then a lovely slow breath out. Let's do 2 more rounds of breath here. Nice breath in. Slow breath out. Maybe you feel that spine lengthening with these breaths. Last one, breathing in. Breathing out. Good. On your next inhale, look forward towards the hands, lifting the head up a little. Exhale, step the feet in a little closer. Inhale, flat back. So think about lifting the tailbone, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. The spine stays long. Exhale, allow yourself to fold into your full forward fold, maybe hands to the floor. Inhale, rise to stand. Just watch the head on the edge of the chair there. Reach the arms up overhead, upward salute. Exhale, bring those arms down to the sides of the body as we reset in our mountain pose. And we're going to come into 2 more rounds of that. With an inhale, arms reaching up overhead, upward salute, maybe slight back bend here. Exhale, hands to the chair, maybe the forehead can just drop gently down. Inhale, straighten through the arms, pull the heart forward, find that flat back. Exhale, step your feet back. We find plank pose here. As you inhale, bend the elbows. This is our chair version of Chaturanga. Exhale, press to straight arms. Keep the arms straight, let the hips drop down. Roll the shoulders back, pull the heart forward, upward facing dog. Exhale, roll over the toes, press the hips back, downward facing dog. So feet are about hip distance here, heels to the floor if that's possible in your body, and then really thinking about creating that length in the spine. By having the height of the chair, for many of us, there's less sensation in the hamstrings, which means that we can focus more on this lengthening of the spine and shoulders. So just enjoying that lovely deep stretch, maybe through the side bodies, maybe through the shoulders. Keep that firm grip of the chair with the hands. Good, and then on your next inhale, look forward towards the hands. Exhale, step the feet in. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, flat back. And then exhale all the way down to your forward fold, release hands to the floor. Inhale, rise to stand, press off your feet as you come all the way up, upward salute. Exhale, arms down to the sides of the body, mountain pose. Let's do 1 more round. Inhale, arms rising up high. Exhale, hinge from the hips, folding down. Forehead comes to touch the chair. Inhale, push off the hands, flat back, lengthening the spine, strong core. Exhale, feet step back, shoulders above wrist, nice straight line with the body. As you inhale, bend the elbows, keep them hugging in. Maybe your forehead aims for the back of the chair. Exhale, press away. Now inhale, arms stay straight, hips drop to the front of the chair, roll those shoulders back, pull the heart forward, upward facing dog. Exhale, rolling all the way back, downward facing dog. You might need to adjust where the feet are slightly as you make that transition. Now thinking about gently shining the armpits towards the heart, so that's a slight external rotation of your shoulders. And then at the same time, still thinking about pulling those hips back so there's length and space through the side body here. When you breathe, maybe you can start to sense and feel the breath moving out to the sides. So this full expansion of the torso with the inhale, and that drawing back in with the exhale. Noticing how this is creating space within the body. Couple more breaths here. Good. On your next inhale, look forward towards the chair. Exhale, step the feet in, ankles under the hips. Inhale, find that flat back, squeezing through the armpits. Exhale, relax the body all the way down. Maybe the hands touch the floor. Inhale, rise to stand, reach the arms up overhead, upward salute. Exhale, arms down to the sides of the body. And relax. So, really nice way to incorporate the chair into our sun salutations. And on some days, this just feels nice to do something that's maybe a little bit more gentle on the body. So we're going to try coming into our lunges next. And so you want to take a good step away from the front of the chair. And then we'll take our right foot and we'll just see if we can reach forward and bring it to the front of the chair. Now, I like to hook my heel against the front of the chair here. And then the first thing we're going to do is just start to bend into that right knee, see how that feels. So at the moment I've got that left heel grounding still. Takes a little bit of balance to be there with that foot on the chair. So see how it feels. Keep hugging the outer hips in, engage through the core. Now, if you felt like you wanted to go a little bit longer, you can always hop that back foot back a little bit. And so as we come forward into the lunge, we might find that we can press up onto the ball of that back foot. So we're going to do a few rounds like this. So as you inhale, you can straighten through that front leg. And then as you exhale, bend into that front knee. Let's go for a couple more. Inhale as we straighten. And then exhale to bend. And one more time. Inhale as we straighten. And then exhale to bend. Good. And then come back to that straight leg. Let that back heel drop to the mat. And then see if you can spring yourself off. Bring both feet back to the floor. Let's switch sides. So we're grounding into our right foot. That left foot reaches forward to the front of the chair. And then just see if you can wiggle it on so that the heel catches against the front of the chair. Now, little bend into that knee. See how it feels. If you want to widen the stance, you can. As we come into that bend again, maybe you can push off onto the ball of that back foot. So really good for strengthening through the feet here. Can also help us to get a little bit more depth and stretch on the back hip flexor. So let's go for a few more of these. So you inhale as you straighten, and then exhale, bend. Keep the outer hip muscles hugging in, strong through your core. And always want to feel in control of this movement. So we inhale to straighten, and then exhale as we bend. Let's do one more. Inhale as we straighten, and then exhale as we bend. Good. Come back to that straight leg. Step the left foot off and back. Nice. Now, this time we'll move that chair a little bit closer just so you have space for your foot at the end of the mat. And depending on how long the legs are, you might find that it's helpful to have a block at the front of the chair for your foot to come onto. So I'm going to step my right foot through the chair, and I like to have a block underneath my foot. It helps me to keep this thigh parallel to the floor. If your foot comfortably comes down to the floor and then this feels better, go for that instead. So once we've set that up, we want to bring the back of the knee nice and close into the chair. And then this is creating this lovely right angle of that front leg. Now we can use our hands on the chair to help bring our torso towards the front of the chair. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see if I can bring my back foot back a little bit. So you'll notice I'm on the ball of that back foot. And although we're using the chair to support us here, we want the legs to be strong. So lift up through the kneecap, draw the left hip slightly forward, bring the right hip slightly back. So I'm also pressing my top of the calf into the front of the chair there as well. Now, when you feel kind of stable within that position of the legs, you can keep the hands here for support, or you might feel that you're able to engage through the pelvic floor and tummy muscles, keep everything the same. Maybe you can lift the arms up overhead. So slight tucking of the tailbone, pulling up through the tummy muscles, reaching those arms up. Keep squeezing the legs in towards the chair. This is helping us to turn that pelvis into a nice neutral position here. And keep breathing. Couple more breaths here. Breathing in. Breathing out. One more breath in where you are. Exhale, bring the hands back to the chair. Relax the legs, and then you can switch sides. So I'm just going to bring my left leg in and through, and then we'll come straight to the other side. Right leg extends back behind you. Feel free to set up the bricks that feel right here. And then that first leg first, we want to bring the back of the calf nice and close into the chair. Kind of press yourself back. That allows the hips to come far back on the chair. And then that will help you to be able to bring that back leg behind you. Now, if you can, you're on the ball of that back foot. And we're thinking about squaring the hips forward. So left hip is pulling back with this press against the chair here, and the right hip is pulling forward. The front of the thigh is gently pressing against the chair. Lift the right kneecap away from the floor. Slightly tuck the tailbone, pull up through the tummy muscles. Soften the shoulders. And then you can stay there, or by engaging through the pelvic floor and tummy muscles, inhale, reach the arms up. Soften the shoulders, reach out through the fingertips, and find your drishti, that place to rest your eyes. And breathe. One more breath in where you are. Exhale, hands return to your chair and relax the legs. Let's bring ourselves out here so we can spin ourselves all the way around, coming off and out of the chair. All right, guys, good. So we're going to come next into some poses facing the side of the mat. So turn your chair this time to face the long side of the mat, and we'll bring it slightly over to the front of the mat, just so we have space to extend our leg behind us. For this one, you may also like to bring a brick here as well. Usually one. If you need to, then of course you could have two. If you feel you want a bit more stability with the blocks, it might be helpful to have two on top of each other like that. So we're going to come to sit onto our chair here, and our right foot will come out to the right side. So I'm actually just going to turn myself a little bit to face that way first, and I'm going to bring the block, and you might not need a block, but if you're using a block for your foot, I'm going to bring that right to the front of the chair, and I'm going to try and bring it close to the chair leg so that I can bring this knee close to the chair as well. And then from there, I'm going to start to bring my left leg out to the side. So we're coming into warrior two here. So it can take a little bit of adjusting to find that position for you. It can be really hard to open this right leg out to the side. So if it's at a bit of a diagonal, don't worry, over time, the hips will open as we practice these movements. So that left leg, we're really grounding into the little toe side of that left foot here. I'm also pressing nice and actively down into the right heel. Lift up tall through your spine, and then maybe you add the arms, bring those arms out to shoulder height. You can always look over your right middle finger here. So warrior two with the chair. Try keeping those shoulders directly above the hips as a way to keep us balanced between those 2 feet. And although we're using the chair to support the pelvis, make sure that the legs stay active by pressing the floor away. Now you could stay, you could come out, or we could try extended side angle pose from here. So this is where we might need these bricks underneath our right hand. So we'll reach forward with that right arm, and then hand will come down onto the blocks. I actually need a little higher here, so you can always adjust the height there. And then the left arm will reach up and over. And so what we're looking for here is this nice long line from the outer edge of the left foot all the way up through to the left fingertips. See if you can feel into that line of energy in the side body. Good, and one more breath in where you are. Exhale, look down towards your right big toe. Inhale, bring those arms back up to shoulder height. Exhale, relax the arms down. Hold on to the chair and gently bring your legs back to center. Can be a lot of sensation coming out of that. All right, we're going to set up for those two poses on the other side. So taking the props that you're using here, moving them to the other side of your mat. So we bring our left foot onto our brick. I like to be nice and close to the front of the chair, just gives a bit more space to move the legs around here. And then setting up your blocks just behind the brick at whichever height you would like to use here. And then we're keeping this left knee nice and open, and we're going to try and rotate the pelvis so that right leg can extend out to the side. And so it can be a little bit of trial and error here to kind of find that position that works for you. Now, pressing firmly into that left heel. The outer blade of that right foot is sealing firmly into the mat. And then we're going to try and stack our shoulders over our hips here. Now from there, warrior two, arms coming out to shoulder height as you inhale. And as you exhale, look towards that left middle finger. Now keep pressing nice and firmly into that left heel. Feeling of the tailbone tucking, drawing up through the tummy muscles here. Softening through the shoulders, but still continuing to reach out through the fingertips. Good, and then you can stay. You can come out, or you can go into extended side angle by reaching that left arm forward, and then left hand comes down onto the block. Try and keep the chest nice and open here, and the right arm reaches up and over. And we're looking for that lovely long line of energy all the way through from the outer edge of the right foot through to the right fingertips. Keep pressing into your left heel. Keep pulling that left knee slightly back. So it might want to kind of drop in, pull it back. And then breathe. Couple more rounds of breath here. Feel into that lovely diagonal line of the right side body. One more breath in. Exhale, look down towards the left big toe. Inhale, bring those arms back up to shoulder height. Exhale, relax the arms down. And then gently bring yourself back to center. Just take a moment to feel. There'll be some strong sensations coming out of those poses. All right, guys, awesome work. So let's bring our chair back to the top of the mat with the front of the chair facing you. We can move our other props out of the way for now. So one of my favorite poses to do with the chair is triangle pose. So if we bring our right foot into the center of the chair, and you want to have the toes lining up with the front of the chair. And then you're going to step your left foot back, and the distance between the feet, we want that to be about a leg's distance. So the back foot, it can be, the little toe side of the foot can be parallel with the back of the mat. Or what I like to do is just very tiny, slightly bringing the toes forward. So there's just that tiny little angle, and then that helps to really ground both feet firmly into the floor. Now, we're trying to keep our chest open to the side of the mat, and this is where the chair comes in really helpful because it stops us from kind of collapsing in the top shoulder as much. So what we're going to do is take our left hand behind the back. Just reach the fingertips as far over to the right side as you can, and that left elbow is really hugging into the side body. And then your right arm will come out to the side. Both legs are staying straight here, but we're not locking the knee. So little tiny micro bend just to keep the muscles either side of the knee active here. And then from there, reach that right arm forward. So the left hip kind of kicks back a little bit as you do that. And I'm not going down, I'm just reaching forward, forward, forward. See what space you have as you reach forward. And then with that length, with that space, see if you can bring the hand down to rest onto the chair. Even if you're just on the edge of the chair, that's fine. Maybe you can wiggle those hands a bit further into the center of the chair. At the same time, left shoulder is pulling back. Keep that chest nice and open. So this is a really nice place to work in our triangle pose with the chair. Another option would be to extend that left arm up and back. And I like to think about this line straight across the chest. So rather than having that arm straight out, reach it open and back. Feel that lovely long line of energy through from the right fingertips to the left fingertips. Neck in line with the spine here can feel nice as well. Couple more breaths. Strong through the feet, strong through the legs. One more breath in. As you exhale, look down towards your right big toe. And then inhale, keeping everything the same, lift that hand off the chair, arms to shoulder height. Exhale, relax the arms down. And let's switch sides. So step the left foot forward and we'll come onto the other side. Left foot into the center of the chair, toes lining up with the front of the chair. And then right foot stepping back. You want about a leg's distance between your 2 feet. Let the feet anchor firmly down into the mat. Check in with the left knee. We're not locking, we're just taking a tiny micro bend. When you look at the leg, it should look straight. The chest is open to the long side of the mat. And then let's wrap that right arm behind our back, letting the elbow come nice and close to the side body as we reach that arm behind. Inhale, bring your left arm up to shoulder height. And then start to reach forward. Right hip will kick back a little bit. You can use your fingertips on the inner left hip here just to gently pull back and reach forward with that left arm. Good, and then that left hand comes down to find the chair. See how that feels. Check in with that left knee. Make sure it's still straight but not locked. And then reaching the crown of the head forward. Maybe this is where you want to stay, or you could go for that lovely line of energy across the body. So from left fingertips to right fingertips, find that nice straight line. Triangle pose. Breathing in, breathing out. What do you notice within the pose? How does it feel different to how you would usually practice? One more breath in where you are. Exhale, look down towards your left big toe. And then with those straight legs, inhale, bring the arms back up to shoulder height. Exhale, relax the arms down and step it back to the top of the mat. Beautiful, guys, well done. So let's come into half moon balancing pose now. Again, this is working with that side motion, and it's very similar to triangle pose in the position of the chest and the shoulders. So we're going to be taking that left hand behind our back again. So I like to leave a bit more space here between the front of the chair and that right foot. So the reason for that is that half moon is a balancing pose, and if we're too close to the chair, there's just not much space here, and it's really hard to shift our weight forward enough to find the balance point. So if you move that foot back away from the chair, even though it maybe feels a little scarier to come into, as we come into the balance, you can actually shift that weight forward and the back leg will more easily lift away from the floor. We're going to try a couple of variations of this today. So let's set that right foot up first, facing towards the chair. probably at least a foot's distance in between the front of the chair and your foot. Now, bend through that knee a little bit and just start to shift the weight onto that right foot. And I'm going to just be light on the left toes behind me here. We'll wrap that left hand behind the back and we'll bring our right hand onto the center of the chair. Now, to begin with, look towards that right hand. When we look down, that can really help us to find the stability to balance. Try and work on that openness of the chest, just like we did in triangle pose. And then from there, seeing if you can shift the weight forward and maybe that back leg starts to lift off the ground. So I'm just noticing that I think my foot's not quite far enough back, so I can just shift that foot back a little bit more. And then trying again, lifting that back leg up. Now this time, I'm trying to stack my left hip above my right hip. And the back leg is really active, so we're driving back through the left heel here. If you find your balance here, you can stay, or you can reach that top arm up to the sky. Breathe. Feel the lines of energy here from the heel of the left foot through to the crown of the head, from the right foot through to the left fingertips, and then right shoulder kind of stacking above that right wrist. One more breath in where you are, and as you exhale, you can gently release out. Relax. Let's have a go on the other side. So left foot setting up, little distance away from your chair. Shift the weight into that left foot, come light onto the right toes. The right arm will wrap behind your back and the left hand finds the center of your chair. Now, turning that chest to face the side of the mat, start by keeping the gaze to the left hand and then just playing around with your balance here, seeing if you can lift that back leg off the ground. If it's not happening too easily, just shift the position of that left foot and see if you can find that place where it feels a little easier. Left shoulder above that left wrist. Left hip above the left ankle. Right heel is pressing back. And if you find your balance, you can lift that top arm up. The other thing is with our gaze, we can look down. We can try to start to look ahead. Or if you feel balanced there, see if you can turn your gaze to your thumb. So changing the position of that head definitely affects the balance. So just go carefully and gently as you practice these variations. Wherever you are, one more breath in. And then exhale, release your way out. Relax. Can be really strong on the legs when we come into these balancing postures, especially because the chair helps us to find a little bit better alignment, and so we can feel it a lot in the legs because we're able to hold the posture a bit longer. All right, I've just got one more variation of half moon balancing pose to show you. Some people find this is a little easier, some people find that it's harder. So just see for yourself which one you prefer. So instead of having our palm on the chair this time, we're going to try bringing our forearm down to the chair. So everything else is the same. The right foot is facing towards the chair, the left hand wraps behind. I'll come down onto my palm first, and then I'm just going to see if I can lower down onto the forearm, and the fingers might even wrap around the back of the chair here. Now, from that position, we're going to see if we can lift that back leg off the ground. And then keeping the chest nice and open, the arms wrapping behind, that left heel is kicking back. You can stay, or you can lift that top arm up. The gaze can be forward, maybe even turning gaze up towards that left thumb. Staying for a few breaths, or maybe you have a few attempts. And then whenever you feel ready to, bringing yourself back out. Let's have a go on the other side. Right hand wrapping behind, left hand finds the chair. And then let's start to lower down onto the forearm. The left knee will bend as you do that, that's fine. Now, once you feel your balance, the stability, you may be gripping the back of the chair with the fingertips here. See if you can lift that back leg off the ground. Drive back through the right heel, keep the chest nice and open, and option to extend the right arm up. Maybe you're wobbling, maybe you're falling out. That's fine, just keep practicing. Do what you can. Come back to the present moment and breathe. As soon as we start to rush this kind of work, then we lose that stability within. We lose that ability to just stay with the present moment. One more breath in where you are. Exhale, gently bring yourself out. Wonderful. So we're going to do one more balancing sequence, and this is where we will use the wall. So you can take your chair, bring it against a wall, and if you have a blanket available, then I would suggest just placing the blanket over the back of the chair. This will save your walls, but it also just gives you something softer to put your leg on, because we're going to try bringing our heel up onto the back of the chair. It's also really helpful to have a strap, but if you don't have a strap, don't worry, you can do it without. So we're standing facing towards the chair. And to begin with, we'll just bring our right foot onto the chair. And from there, we're going to see if we can bring our right heel onto the back of the chair. So firmly pressing down into the left foot here. So there's a strong active kind of press downwards with that left leg. And that is giving us our balance as we lift that right heel onto the back of the chair. Now this can be wobbly. So know that if you're wobbling a lot, then that is very, very common to happen at the beginning when we start practicing this. Your left leg is staying straight without locking the knee. So we just always want that tiny little micro bend so that we can activate muscles either side of the knee. We're squeezing the outer hips in, and we're trying to keep those hips square, so not kind of letting one hip come out. We're drawing the right hip down as the left hip lifts gently up. And the back is nice and straight, so slight tuck of the tailbone and a lifting up of the heart space. Now this is where we can bring our strap in. So if you can, you bring the strap around the ball of the right foot, and then we can use that to hold and create some resistance here. If you don't have a strap, you can just reach your hands forward towards the wall. So you can be here. We can also experiment with reaching the fingertips further closer to the wall. And the same thing with your strap. So if you're holding onto the strap, rolling the shoulders back and down, heart is pulling forward, and then maybe you can work on walking the hands closer to that front foot. Now, we don't want to let the back round as we do this. So we're pressing firmly into that front foot, and we're thinking about hinging from the hips to allow us to bring those hands closer in. Think about your heart moving towards the big toe rather than your crown of the head, which rounds through the upper back. If you do get nice and close to that foot, you might be able to hold onto the big toe here. From this position, we're going to come straight into the next variation. If you need to drop the legs and take a break in between, feel free to do that. So with my strap, I'm going to leave my strap hooked on the ball of the foot. And then, we can just kind of hold on to it with our right hand for now. And then you're going to turn yourself to face the side. So We're turning the torso around here. That leg stays exactly where it is, but we're just trying to open the hip by turning the body to the side here. Now, this might be enough. You can stay here. You can reach that right hand down the strap towards the foot. You could also try that looping of left arm behind the back and see if you can hold onto the strap with that left hand. And as you do that over time, you'll be able to just wiggle the fingertips maybe a little bit closer towards the foot, using that to help open the shoulder, open the left hip. Right hand can then take hold of the strap a little further down. Keep pushing nice and firmly into that left foot. And then you could even work towards leaning towards the foot, maybe holding onto the toe, maybe fingertips resting against the wall. Good, and then you can gently start to bring yourself out. Of course, you can relax the legs between rounds, but I'm going to come straight into the final variation here. So we're turning ourselves back towards the wall. So left toes are facing towards the wall. Square those hips forward. And then this final variation is our twisting variation. So this time, we're going to start to see if we can twist our torso towards the right leg. Now, you can do exactly the same thing that we did on the other side with the strap. So right hand can come behind the back, left hand coming down onto the strap or holding onto the leg here. And just see if you can start to twist yourself round. Keep pressing firmly into the left foot. You can take the left fingertips to the wall here. You could hold onto the strap, see how it feels. Can be quite a lot of strong sensations in this twisting variation, so just go gentle at your own pace. And if having that right arm behind is too much, just hold the strap with the left hand, maybe have your right hand on your right hip and just work on this twisting motion. It will get easier over time. Keep pressing the right heel into the wall and squeeze the inner hip, the outer hips inwards towards each other. Just a couple more breaths here, feeling into that twist. Good, and then you can start to gently release out, release the foot down, relax. Let's have a go on the other side. So left foot is coming up to the chair, right foot is on the floor. So starting by stepping that left foot onto the seat of the chair first. And then once you feel that strength into the right leg, you can try hooking the heel onto the back of the chair. Takes a minute to find the balance there, so don't rush the movements. Think about that nice long spine, so tuck of the tailbone, lifting up through the heart space, and then pressing that left heel into the wall as you press your right heel into the floor. Let's try taking the strap around the ball of that left foot. And then keeping the heart lifting, so nice tall spine, you can just walk your hands down closer to the strap, closer to the foot, sorry. If you don't have a strap, reach the arms out in front, and you can always work on reaching the fingertips to the wall here. If you're working with this strap, roll the shoulders back and down, pull through the strap, pull the heart forward. And then you could always try walking the hands a little closer. Each space that we come into and find, take a little bit of time there. Try not to rush the process here. There can be a lot of sensation coming up. We can work into that. We can keep finding that engagement of the pushing down into the floor, pushing into the wall, squaring those hips, letting the left hip drop as the right hip comes in line. And then from there, let's come into the side variation. So remember, you can step out to come into this one, but we're turning towards the side. We're keeping that left leg extending long, and we're starting to open up through the hips now. Left hand can reach down towards left foot, holding onto the strap, or you can try bringing that strap behind you. This really depends not only on how long our arms are, but also how long the strap we have is. So right hand is coming behind. I'm just trying to wiggle my fingers down towards the foot with that right hand, opening out through the shoulder. Left hand can reach down towards the foot, maybe even grabbing hold of the toe or resting the fingertips on the wall here. Keep pushing firmly into that standing leg. Couple more rounds of breath here. Good, and then gently bringing yourself back to face the wall. And you might need to take breaks in between doing these variations, so don't feel like you have to do it all with the leg up the whole time. Ground through that right foot, extend forward through that left leg, and then twisting variation here. So left hand might start onto the left hip. Just see if you can start to turn. You don't necessarily need to go very far to start to really feel this. So noticing, see how it feels. If we want more, that left hand can wrap behind the back. It can hold onto the strap. And then we can just gently work on twisting the torso towards that left side. Right hand maybe coming down towards the left foot. Whatever you're feeling, whatever sensations are there, breathe into them. See if you can stay calm even within that discomfort that you're feeling in your body. Nice, guys. One more breath in. As you exhale, release back to center. And then you can gently release that foot off and down. So we're going to bring our chair back onto our mat or back into the center, and you can come and take a seat. And in fact, we'll, if you want to use blocks under your feet, that might be helpful here. And we'll sit away from the back of the chair, the thighs parallel to the floor, and just sitting up nice and tall. And so we've done a lot of work in the hips with our balancing sequence today. So let's just come into a nice little hip stretch, which is a seated version of our pigeon pose. So if you bring your right ankle over the left thigh close to the knee, and then you'll bring your right hand onto your right knee and just gently press that down towards the floor. Keep the spine tall. And this may be enough, and you can stay here. I find this variation, sitting up tall with the spine, really helpful. It gets into my outer hip nicely. If you want to explore more depth, keep the spine straight, but just start to lean forward. And you might find you can come down onto forearms, so one forearm over the ankle, one over the knee, palms coming together. Rounding through the back, we kind of lose the stretch a bit, so pull the heart forward, keep the sit bones reaching back. Maybe you close down your eyes at this point. Just take some really nice, slow, deep breaths. If you did want to explore more depth from here, you could even work on bringing the hands onto the chair legs and gently pressing the chest towards the legs. Always taking it one step at a time and respecting and honoring where your body is at today. Every day on the mat brings something different. And so the depth of the pose isn't what matters, but instead the depth of our awareness, the depth of our ability to listen. Wherever you are, one more breath in there. And then as you exhale, you can bring yourself all the way back up. We can release that right ankle, bring both feet flat to the floor or to your blocks. And then let's switch sides. So left ankle over right thigh. One side is probably going to feel different to the other. This side feels very different for me today. So we begin, we sit up nice and tall. We might bring that left hand to the left knee and either right hand to right ankle, or even just holding the bottom of the foot here as a way of giving ourselves a little bit more stability. If this is enough, stay there. If you want more, you can explore the option of folding lower, maybe coming down into that forearm position. I can feel that I'm much tighter on this side, so I'm going to stay high, but do feel free to come down if that feels right for you. Just coming back to that rhythm of your breathing, in through the nose, out through the nose. One of the key aspects of our yoga practice is learning how to focus, learning how to concentrate on one thing for a longer amount of time than maybe we're used to. And so every time you notice that your mind has wandered off somewhere else, just gently, with kindness, with compassion, guide your awareness back to your breathing. If you are folding lower and you want to go for the option where you're holding the chair legs and your chest is coming towards the thighs, feel free. Feel free to explore the depth of the posture. And also feel free to back off. Remember that the practice is really about being sensitive to the body and to its needs in any given moment or on any given day. Good, and if you are folding forwards, you can take one more breath in. And as you exhale, start to lift the chest away from the thighs, come into a tall spine. And then we'll release that left ankle, bring that foot back down onto your support. We've got one more seated posture here, and for this we'll turn to face the side of our chair. I like to bring these blocks with me, but up to you whether that works or is helpful for you here. So we're sitting onto the chair, facing the side, and the feet are planting down. And again, we want this lovely 90-degree angle of the bend in the knees. Now, I'm going to just take my blanket off the back of the chair for a moment. My hands are coming onto the back of the chair. So we're coming into a nice little twist here. And what I want you to focus on is keeping the knees facing the side of the mat. So the outer edge of the right thigh is gently drawing inwards to bring it to the side of the mat. And then hands are on the back of the chair. With an inhale, lift the heart forward and up to create space. And then as you exhale, just see if you can twist your chest towards the back of the chair. So the knees stay pointing to the side, and then we twist through the spine. It's going to be a really nice spinal twist because we have the support of that chair that we can use to help us. So every time you inhale, just finding a little bit of length. And then as you exhale, see if you can find that rotation, that spiraling, that twisting. And you might even continue that through the muscles of the neck as well. So we inhale as we lift and then exhale to twist. Maybe the chin can look over the right shoulder here. One more deep breath in where you are. Exhale, release back to center. Just take a moment to let the spine neutralize. Full breath in. Full breath out. Good, and then let's switch sides. Take your blocks, bring them to the left side of the mat. Place those feet down. Sit up nice and tall, slightly forward onto the front sitting bones, lifting up through the heart space. Take a deep breath in, and then as you exhale, hands come to the back of the chair. Keep those knees pointing to the side. Take a deep breath in, lift up tall, and then exhale. See if you can gently rotate and twist your chest towards the back of the chair. So a couple more like this. Inhale, nice full deep breath in. And then exhale, find that spiraling, that rotation into your twist. Inhale to lift. And exhale, maybe you look over your left shoulder as we continue that motion of twist through the muscles of the neck. The outer edge of that left thigh is just gently drawing inwards to keep the knees parallel. One more full breath in where you are. And then exhale, come back to center. Take a deep breath in. And a nice slow breath out. Good, we'll come back to the front of the chair. And then this time we'll fold forward over the legs. So with an inhale, reach your arms up overhead. And then exhale, let the belly relax onto the thighs, let the hands come towards the floor, let the head and neck release down. You might find that it's comfortable to hold onto the chair legs here, just gently drawing the knees towards each other and getting that nice stretch through the lower back. So just kind of a way of releasing out through the lower back where we don't have the hamstrings involved or getting in the way here. So for some people, this can be really nice, not having to worry about the hamstrings stretching, but just getting that nice release of the lower back. Couple more breaths here. Good, and then when you're ready, you can slowly start to roll your way all the way up. You can bring that head back to neutral. And so we're going to set up for Shavasana now, and we'll use our chair for Shavasana as we have it here with us, and this has been a chair focused class. So if you bring your chair back to the front of your mat, if you have a blanket, that can be really nice here. So I like to place that blanket over the chair just so it's a little bit softer here. If you want to use blankets, eye pillows, or anything else to be comfortable in your Shavasana, do feel free to grab those things as well. I'm going to take one block for my head to rest on. And the lower legs will come onto the chair. So I'm sitting nice and close. I'm going to come to lie down and then just swing the calves up onto the chair here. Now, if for any reason you find that this is not a comfortable way to rest your body, of course you can come into a more traditional Shavasana with the legs straight along the floor. We could bring our arms down to the sides of the body here, palms facing up, and then allow the eyes to shut down. And for these final few minutes of practice, just knowing that there's nothing that you need to do, but that we can allow the benefits of the practice to really integrate into body and mind. And so as you lie here, just allowing every single muscle of your body to soften and relax. Soften the muscles of the face, the tiny muscles around the eyes, the muscles around the jaw. Let your breath become relaxed, your body breathing you rather than you breathing it. And we'll rest together for these final few minutes of class in stillness and in silence. So if you have longer to stay today, feel free to stay as long as you need. But if you are ready to move on with your day, we'll just start to bring some gentle movements back into the body, wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes. And then if you're using the chair for your Shavasana, just bringing the bottoms of the feet against the edge of the chair. You might need to wiggle yourself back slightly here. And then see if you can roll your way onto the side body. You might use your hands as a pillow or just wrap the arms around the body here. And then using our hands, we'll press into the hands to bring ourselves up to a final seated position. Coming into a comfortable seat, just taking a moment to notice how your body feels. The spine, the hips. Maybe noticing the quality of your mind. And then joining your palms together in front of the heart. Gently bowing the head down towards the hands. And taking a moment just to give gratitude to yourself for showing up for practice today. For giving yourself this time to be present and to look after your body and your mind. And I thank you so much for being here and practicing with me today. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day and look forward to seeing you soon.